Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So today we have Sovereign's non-meta tournament round number 1. This is going to be the second tournament, obviously. So it's going to be very interesting. So the two players that we have today are myself and Goofy Ghost, who were in the finals of the previous one. So round number 1, we're playing each other, which is really funny. It just happens to randomize that sort of way. So basically the finals match is a rematch, or the round 1 is a rematch of the finals in the previous tournament. But if you are unfamiliar with non-meta tournaments, it is a tournament with the majority of meta strategies and decks banned, as well as like a ton of really powerful cards such as like Borrowsword, Access Kotaku, Appaloosa, etc. Are also banned on this because they are pretty much game ending on their own. So it just promotes more of a healthy game style, or like play style of the game, and yeah, that's about it. So with all of that said, if you do want to play, you can join the top of the description. There's like a link to the Discord, and you can come join that. Hopefully the next tournament will be sometime in August. I'm assuming like early August. That is the idea for now. Hopefully it might change later on though. So at the top, Goofy Ghost is playing Crusadia, which is the same list from the previous one, and I had to switch decks because ABC obviously got hit on the previous list, where I put Union Hanger and Unauthorized Reactivation to 1 because they were insane starters. So my hand may look a little bit interesting, having 2 copies of Juraghetto in my opening hand, a Cosmic Cyclone, Alistair, and Mind Control. So he won the die roll, and he's opting for me to go first. So this Alistair is really interesting because Macabre is banned, so I basically have to go for like Purgatrio. But I like saving the Purgatrio for the second turn, so it's really weird. I'm just going to go ahead and go into Almirage and obviously search for the Invocation and set a Cosmic and pass my turn, because there's not really a whole lot I can do with no access to Macabre. So Standby Phase is all good. He's ready to start going. He has a 1-for-1 in hand, which is really insane as well. So he's going to activate Crusadia Testament, which is a really interesting tech option where your opponent can activate cards or effects in response to the activation of your Crusadia effect monsters this turn, which is crazy. Basically just forcing me so I can't respond at all. Not that I have any like responses to it at all, but it's just crazy that it does that in general. 1-for-1's going to come down here, discarding a Crusadia Draco, and then it's going to go ahead and special summon a Formed Skipper from the deck. So the really cool thing about Formed Skipper is that it's a free search when you link off with it, as well as you can basically make it a Crusadia monster. So he's going to go ahead and reveal Spatha in the extra deck, and then link it off into a copy of Magius. So then the Formed Skipper is going to go ahead and search for a level 5 or higher Cyberse, which is Parallax Seed. He already happened to draw one, but it's still really good because at this point I don't know what the other 3 cards in his hand is. So basically just not giving me extra information that I need. Then he's going to go ahead and activate Terraforming and search for a copy of Black Garden. Then he's going to go ahead and activate Black Garden and then normal summon Draco. So at this point, I'm basically forced to go with hit the Black Garden with the Cosmic Cyclone because I'm afraid that he's going to get into an Equimax. Like, I'm afraid that there's an extra extender in his hand that's going to basically like a Maximus that he could just double the attack of his what's it called? The Maximus, and just punch everything. Especially because I'm pretty sure you can get access into the field spell, which makes him able to declare attacks on all monsters on my field, just by, you know, targeting a monster, and then it can a Crusadia Link monster and can attack everything. So it's pretty crazy. His Draco, he attempts to add the Draco from the grave to hand, but Draco cannot add itself, so I do point that out. Then he goes ahead and searches for a copy of Arborea, and then he can go ahead and link those off into a Regulix. So this is a spell trap searcher, so he's going to go ahead and special Arborea and then use the Regulix to go ahead and add Revival, which is a spell trap that gives all link monsters 500 attack. Then he's going to link those off into a Equimax. Then he's going to use the Parallax Seed to go ahead and special summon itself, as well as another copy from the deck. And then he can overlay these into a, I believe he goes into a Dagares, yep. which is really crazy here because now this Dugares is going to target the Equimax and double its attack. And so the Equimax already gains the 1200 from the Dugares as well as the 500 from Revival. So this is sitting at 3700, which is pretty crazy. I believe it's 3700, and it gets doubled. So it should be 7400. Yeah, I do catch that here. I say 7400. And so it would basically kill me, obviously, because I use the Cosmic Cyclone. So it would be game. So he's going to go into battle phase and attempt to attack for game, although I'm going to use Jurageto in the battle step, so I can summon it, gain 1,000 life points, so I'm for sure safe, and then I can use my Almirage to tribute it, targeting the Jurageto, and that way he's not basically attacking directly, hitting me, my Almirage or whatever, because otherwise it would pretty much be game. So he's going to go ahead and kill my Jurageto, which is completely fine, and he's going to pass his turn to me. So I draw for turn, I have a Mind Control in my hand, I can go ahead and activate this Mind Control and take the Equimax. Basically, he can't even use the Equimax to negate anything because he doesn't have a Crusadia that it points to. So this isn't a Crusadia monster, so that's pretty good. I can use this invocation here to banish the Almirage as well as the Alistair to get access into Purgatrio, which pierces over this Dugares, which is going to be really nice as well. Invocation is going to add back the Alistair as well as shuffle back the invocation back into the deck. And going to the battle phase, I can go ahead and use Purgatrio to swing over the Dugares and hit him for 1500 because it gains 200 attack for the Dugares and 200 attack for Revival, putting it at 27. 27 minus 12, 15. So we'll take 15 as well as the 1600 from Lycoris. Then I can go ahead and go into main phase 2 and link these off into a Nightmare Cerberus. I wanted to save the Phoenix for later if I wanted to pop the Revival. I could have used it here actually to discard this Jurageto out of my hand, but I decided to not do that. I probably should have though. Next, he's going to go ahead and normal summon Regulex, link in the Magius, and then use Parallel Exceed to special itself. Unfortunately, he has no more copies in deck because you can't play 4. So he's going to use the Magius to go ahead and search for a copy of Draco, I believe, here. And then he's going to link those off into a Spatha, which is really good here because then he can move my Purgatrio over and basically punch over it. So then this Spatha is going to be going ahead and switching my Purgatrio to a different zone. And the Draco is going to be adding the Arborea back to hand. Then he can go ahead into Equimax, which will gain attack equal to my Purgatrio. And then he can special this Arborea to a zone that the Equimax points to. So, something that we do miss here is, I do have to do some math here, but he technically can't even enter the battle phase because of Dugares. So, Dugares, once you give the monster double attack, it skips the battle phase of your next turn. So, unfortunately, we do miss this, but as you'll see here in a minute, it doesn't matter. So, I do the math here in my head. He can go ahead and attack over the Cerberus due to Revival, because the Revival can make it attack everything. And so that's going to hit me for quite a bit of damage here, bringing me down to just 3,400. Then it can attack over the Purgatrio, and it's going to be, I think we said the Equimax was at 6,200. So it's quite a bit of damage. And then the Purgatrio is going to hit for 3,300, bringing me down to 100 life points. So I'm completely safe and in the clear with 100 life points. Obviously, if I had less life points, if I would have taken more damage, I could have used the Jurageto. But I didn't, because I didn't need to. So we're all good there. But technically he wasn't supposed to conduct his battle phase. I should have kept both of my monsters on the field, but it doesn't matter, as you'll see here in a second. So I can special Korobane because I control no monsters. It's basically a Cyber Dragon, except for like Trickstars. It's also kind of like an Honest, but that effect didn't really come up in this game. So we can use Alistair to go ahead and add a invocation, and he was thinking about negating it, and realistically he should have. If he would have negated it here, I think he would have won the game. I'm not exactly too sure, but I think he would have won the game. So Invocation is going to be added off of this Alistair, and then I'm going to go ahead and link the Alistair into an Almirage. Then I'm going to use the Invocation, banishing the Alistair and the Purgatrio, into a Invoked Agodes. So Agodes, I think I'm pronouncing that right. When it's special summoned, you can target a monster in your opponent's field and destroy it. So I decide to go ahead and destroy the Arborea. Or actually, I think I attempt to destroy the Equimax actually, and he uses the Equimax targeting my Agodes to negate, which is fine. It has to attribute the Arborea anyways, so it's fine. Then I can go ahead and use Invocation to add back the Alistair back to my hand, and then I can go into battle phase and special summon Jurageto due to its own effect, gain 1,000 life points, and use Trickstar Korobane to go ahead and swing over it. And I'm just waiting for the damage step, and then once damage step is good, I use Juraghetto to give it 1000 attack, and he's going to use the Arborea to protect, so he'll take 500 points of damage here. Then I'm going to go ahead and use Agodes to attack, and then in the damage step, I'm going to use Alistair to go ahead and hit over for another 500 points of damage as well. I could use the Almirage to attack here, but obviously I'd opt to not do that. Then I pass my turn, sitting on this board. I think it's pretty respectable here. He can go ahead, and he draws double summon for turn. Unfortunately, this is exactly 2,000 damage on the next, or 4,000 damage on the next turn. So he just goes ahead and scoops it up. Pretty crazy, really long game number 1, but it was a really, really fun one. Moving into game number 2, he opts for me to go first yet again. And I go ahead and I side in to a copy of Compulse as well as Judgment in my side deck, which I think was a really good option on my part. I can go ahead and activate this light stage and go ahead and search for a Trickstar Lycoris. And then I can normal summon my Candina, use the effect to go ahead and add a reincarnation. And then I can special summon the Lycoris to the field and return Candina to my hand, setting 3 back row, and I pass my turn. So he goes ahead and starts off with taking 400 from Lycoris, 200 for drawing, and then 200 for stage. And then he can go ahead into main phase 1. He's going to use Humongous to tribute over my Lycoris so he doesn't take any more damage. Plus, he's just going to be swinging over it eventually anyways with his rest of his hand, hopefully. At least that's what he thinks. So he activates Hey Trunade, and I use this Solemn Judgment here to negate it, and I'll pay 4,000 life points. Then he can go ahead and summon this Crusadia Arborea to the field and activate Black Garden. So this is a really awesome choice on his part, and I really should have been more careful, I guess. I should have definitely read Black Garden, its second effect, because it definitely comes up here. Because if I would have just bounced the normal summon of Arborea, he would have basically been forced to pass, because this Reborn doesn't do anything. It can take my Lycoris, which is fine, but then I could just, on the next turn attack with Humongous, and, Candina can search for a Lycoris, so I'm going to be hitting for 2,000, and then 18, so that'd be 38, and then the 24. I think it would have been, like, quite a bit of damage, honestly, and I think it would have been pretty good. But then he's just going to actually just go ahead and I think I actually could have killed him. Let me think here really quick. So it was 2018, 24. That would have been 42 and then the 62, and then I could have reincarnation, banished his hand, and then special back the Lycoris for the remaining 18. So yeah, it would have been game if I would have just bounced his Arborea to hand. But I just wanted to wait for the summon because I wanted the Arborea to stay in the graveyard. Because I was obviously I didn't assume that he had the Monster Reborn in hand. Normally in a perfect world, this situation would have been great because like he wouldn't have an extender to summon the Arborea back. He would have been out of a normal summon and he wouldn't have been able to do anything. But in this case, he has quite a few things that he can do. So he's going to use Garden to give me a token, which is fine. Then I'm going to use the Compulse to set the Magius back into the deck, and then I can go ahead. He's going to go ahead and use Garden to destroy all the tokens on the field and itself, and then bring back the Arborea. So he didn't even use any extenders, and he got the Arborea back to the field. So he's just going to go back into the Magius. So at this point, I'm assuming he has extenders in his hand. I have the Reincarnation set, so I opt to go ahead and activate the Reincarnation to banish his hand. Then he draws into a second copy of Black Garden, as well as the Crusadia Reclusia, which I believe is pretty much exactly what he needs for this to work, because this Black Garden is going to pretty much facilitate the FTK, or OTK rather, because he's going to go ahead and use Reclusia to special summon it to Magius' zone, then use Magius to go ahead and search for a Crusadia Draco, and then he can link those off into the Regulex, then use the Draco to get him another monster. I get another token, obviously, because of Black Garden, and then he can use the Draco to add back Arborea, as well as the Regulex to add this field spell, which is Revival. He can activate Revival here, and then he can link those off into Equamax, summon the Arborea, and this is sitting at 2,800, and at this point, attacking into one token is going to be quite a bit of damage. I think it's actually just 2,500. So he's going to be doing 25, and then the token is going to be attacking it as well. So it doesn't really matter. Either way, it's going to be game. Oh, wait, it gains the 24 from Humongous as well. So it was game that way as well. I forgot about that, that he gains from the Humongous as well. But moving into game number 3, I opt to go second. And so he's going to go here, and he's going to activate the Rhoda to search for Arborea, and then he's going to normal Arborea, link it off into a Magius, and then special summon drones, and then he's going to use the drones to get into Kagari, and then Kagari can add back the drones back to hand. Then he can go ahead and use Magius to search for Leonis, link those off into a Regulix, and then use the drones yet again. And if you're curious, the reason why he doesn't summon the drones to the zone Regulix points to is because, or to any Crusadia, is because they only get effects if an effect monster is summoned to a zone it points to, and tokens are obviously normal monsters. So yep, so he links off the token into a Kaina, and then you can use it to go ahead and add a Crusadia Revival. So then he's going to go ahead and go into Crusadia Aquamax, and then he can use the Arborea in his hand to special summon to his zone it points to, as well as the Leonis. And then he's going to pass his turn, and then I'm going to go ahead and activate Gizmek Orochi in the end phase, banishing 8 cards face down. I don't think I hit anything important here. I hit 1 copy of Parallel Exceed, but you only need 2 anyways, so that's fine. So I draw for turn, drawing double or nothing, which is a little unfortunate, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and use Gizmek Orochi, banishing 3 cards in my extra deck face down, and I'm going to attempt to destroy the Aquamax, which obviously he's going to use Arborea in his graveyard to protect it, which I think is fine. I just wanted to bait it out. Then I'm going to go ahead and use the Eater of Millions to banish 5 monsters from my extra deck. I believe I banished 5. I did the 8, then the 3, then the 5. So yeah, 16 is the right card, the right amount of cards. Then I switch the Gizmek Orochi to attack mode, and I attempt to enter battle phase. And on the enter battle phase, or the end of main phase rather, he uses Aquamax to negate my Eater. And I decide still to go into the battle phase. Then I use Jurageto to special summon it due to its own effect, gain 1,000 life points, and then I can go ahead and attack over this Leonis. So it's really funny that he actually got rid of his Arborea, because if he would have got rid of the Leonis, I wouldn't have been able to clear the Arborea with my Jurageto, because Jurageto is not 1,800. It's not more than 1,800, but it was actually really fortunate on my end that he ended up tributing the Arborea instead of the Leonis, so really funny. I think he just wanted the extra attack on Aquamax, but realistically, it didn't matter. Then I used the Gizmek to go ahead and clear the Aquamax over 450, and that's when this revival would have actually been really good to keep in his hand, because he wouldn't have, obviously, his Aquamax obviously wouldn't have been able to die there. So he needed a really good draw here, so let's see what he got. Let's see what he gets, rather. He gets a Monster Reborn, so I guess that makes his double summon in his hand pretty dead. But that's okay. He can go ahead and activate the Crusadia Revival. And then he can go ahead and normal summon the Aquamax, I believe, here. Or no, he's going to rather go for Monster Reborn to bring back the Aquamax. Unfortunately, it doesn't go into the extra monster zone, so it's a little rough for him, I guess, here. But yeah, he ends up just scooping there, which I think is really interesting. I think the line of play he could have done, which I mentioned here in the box here in the chat in a sec, is he could have normal summoned this Maximus, linked off for a Magius, and then use the Reborn on Kagari, and Kagari would have obviously gave him a search off of the Maximus into like a Draco, and then he could have then use the Kagari to add back drones. Let me just see what I say in the chat here. I know I say it very well in the chat. So yeah, so normal the Maximus, link into Magius, then Monster Reborn, bring back Kagari. Kagari adds the drones, and then the Magius adds Draco to hand, and then he can link into Spatha, and then turn my Gizmek Orochi into a different zone with Spatha. And then he can use double summon, so he'll have 3 spells in grave, and then he can activate drones. I think that drones, when it gets the 1500 attack bonus, it's considered original attack, but I'm actually not sure, because it says it becomes 1500 instead, so I think it would count. I'm not too sure, but either way, because Aquamax gains the original attack. But then you can activate drones, and drones will be 1500 attack. You'll obviously link the Spatha and the Crusadia Draco into a Aquamax, and then he can use the drones to summon to a zone that Aquamax points to. Then he can use the Maximus that he added back with Draco and special summon it to a zone Maximus points to, and then this Aquamax points to. And then the Aquamax will be double damage, and it will be at, I believe, let me do some math here. I can't even remember. it would be really big is pretty much what I'm trying to say. I think it's going to be at 3641 and then whatever the Gizmek is at, so 6550, and then I think that the drones would give it an extra 1500 as well, which would be 8000, and then he can, you know, attempt to attack into the Gizmek and then the Eater for game probably. Assuming that would be the case, but I'm not sure if the damage would have been exactly enough. But I was definitely considering with my hand to make a Link 2 and then making Utopia, just pure Utopia, to just negate his attack. So that was what I was showing there as well. Because I ended up banishing the Double or Nothing since I already drew the Double or Nothing, or the Utopia Double. But yeah, that's going to do it for today's feature match. In 2 more days, I'm going to be posting a second feature match from round number 2. We did have 12 participants, so there's going to be 6 matches in every single round until the top cut. So I think that it is going to be quite really good for content, because I can upload 2 matches from every single round until top cut, and then I can upload all of top cut. But that's going to do it for today's video. I've rambled long enough. Sorry, my pronunciation. But yeah, I will see you guys in the next video.